Hey everyone. So we are here for our first episode of, Market Your Journey, where our main aim is to help inspire young minds through this crazy and exciting world. And we are here to inspire these, young minds through the life journey of the professionals and the marketeers. And before taking much time, I'll just like to introduce to you to my co-host, Mr. Kabir, and he will give you a quick brief about today's guest speaker.
Hey everyone. As Shreyas has already told me, I'm his colleague. I'm studying at the Humber College doing my marketing management. Me and Anmol go way back from when we were working in ITC days. We were in the same company, ITC Limited. Then Anmol started moved out of ITC and moved to this brilliant company called Easy Diner. From there, he wanted to pursue his MBA in marketing. So hence moved to US and did his MBA from Adelphi University. Now he is currently at the post of marketing manager for CopyLeaks. It's a plagiarism detection software, and I feel his story would be the first one we should consider because he was a student 1 year back like us, and from what I know he had done his internships in major companies like Mount Sian, etc. So I felt Anmol could be a good help to us and the young minds. Anmol, let me start you first welcoming you to this first podcast.
Thank you,
You know,
guys.
I hope you enjoy this. It's a short, brief podcast, and thank you so much for taking us time out for us. So my first question to you would be simple and straight. I'm sure you would have heard from a lot of people, but again, my question would be: what drives you every day to go to the market? Do whatever you are doing, and what is the fire? What is the fire behind that? What is the fuel behind that?
So first of all, I want to start with thanking you guys. Thanking you for having me on this podcast. I definitely feel very humbled, and I'm grateful to be here, talking to the next generation of um, um, marketing champs. I want to call them. Um, so I want to start with a little bit of my own journey. So like Kabir, you mentioned part of it already. So I started my career with ITC Hotels, which is basically part of Starwood Hotels, and pretty much stayed in the corporate sales world while I was in India. Spent about 5 years moving from Starwood Hotels to Oberoi Hotels, and then from there moving on to the startup, which was Easy Diner. It's a very curated platform for restaurant reservations. Pretty novel concept for India, even in today's date. Um, Experienced some great stuff there. That was actually the first time I got familiarized to digital marketing, and that's when I was very fascinated with this whole concept of wow, this is how AdWords works. This is how you bid for keywords, and you rank on Google,
Yeah.
and you do all kinds of things, and that became a very big motivation for me, like that craving to learn more about it. Next thing I know, I am preparing for my MBA entrance, my GMAT, and next thing I know, I'm in the US pursuing my MBA. So I guess what drives me is coming back to that same point, my passion for marketing. Um, and you guys must have heard it like 1,000 times already. Don't chase money, chase your passion, and money is going to follow you. And I truly live by that. So what drives me every day, what pushes me out of my bed, is not the money that comes at the end of the at the paycheck, but it's my work. um,
Hmm.
so that's something that really lights me up, that fires my day and gets me going.
Oh, perfect, perfect. That's I believe is a inspiring answer.
Right.
Money is not everything. It's passion that is the most important thing. Perfect. Thank you.
So Anmol, since you told us that you worked for in corporate sales for a major part of your career back in India, So having worked for around 4 to 5 years in corporate sales, like why did you choose to do an MBA from United States?
I'm so sorry, guys. I'm struggling with this app, and something has happened here. My totally my bad. I don't know what has happened here. I'm so sorry. Hang on. Okay, I'm back.
Are you back? Are you
You're
back?
back.
Perfect.
Yes, I can see it now. These are the
Super.
struggles of the COVID
The
era, which we
digital
call it.
world. I feel
Exactly,
the
right?
digital world.
This
Right,
is this
right.
is the new normal, I guess, with the COVID world.
Yeah.
Anyways, I apologize. Would you mind
No, not
repeating
an
your
issue. Yeah,
question?
sure. I'll repeat myself. Yeah. So I was asking you, having worked for 4 to 5 years in corporate sales back in India, like why did you choose to go for an MBA in United States?
Sure, great question. So, like I said, it was really out of fluke. I was doing very well with my career back in India. I was only seeing an upward trajectory with my career, with everything, and I was pretty happy. So a lot of people want to change professions, want to move gears because they feel challenged in their roles. They feel that this is not what they wanted to do. So that was never my motivation. My motivation was, I think, to push myself harder. Um, and I felt, like I said, when I got into Easy Diner, I was basically being exposed to these foreign concepts which I'd never heard of, Google Ads, and doing stuff which sounded so cool, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. um, and that really became my motivation. So the next thought that came to my mind was, let me pursue my education. I just have a bachelor's right now, even though I'm doing pretty well. Let me pursue my education, probably get into a master's program, probably get into an MBA, and specialize in marketing. So, unlike a lot of people, the day I started my program, I knew what I'm going to do. I didn't have to think about my specialization, my concentration. I knew I want to do marketing. Um, and then one thing that I tell everybody is, if there is one place in the world where you can, or one group of people from who you can learn marketing, that's the Americans. Like, I hands down, if on a Richter scale, I say 1 to 7, 7 being the highest, Americans do at level 7, whereas the world does it at something smaller. So I guess that was my inspiration to come to the US, spend my time doing MBA here in the US.
So cutting cutting you down, I feel they are the great. Yeah, they're great at marketing. Great at marketing.
Absolutely.
US is here because of their marketing, I believe. And rest, I believe the talent is coming from around the world. Is what you can see. So
So yeah,
you
definitely,
know,
it's definitely, I mean, uh, if you are learning a new trade, might as well learn it from the best, correct? So
correct,
I
correct.
guess that's my motto.
Perfect. So you know, let me ask you a question now. It's a you know a lot of people have told me this question, a lot of people have told me, you should know this, you should know that. Now I specifically want to ask you, um, take me as a young marketer who wants to get into digital marketing. What are the basic softwares, what are the basic applications you should know as a young marketer, you know that will be that you're prepared when you go outside, you're prepared, and you know that, all right, I'm confident about this application, that application. I remember we had a chat about this long back, and you gave me answer which I really admired, and like, would you like to just elaborate that answer, and would you like to just let the audience know what do you feel at this age what marketers should learn?
Sure. So I think I would, since we are addressing to a broader group of audience, who might be coming with different interests, with different passions, right? So I don't want to give them a very narrowed down version of this
Mhm.
answer, and I would rather give something that everybody can relate to. So I think from a purely industry right now, I think what's most important is, you can pick any advertising channel, pick Google, pick Bing, pick any other way of touching the journey of the user. They're all focused on one single aspect. How can you make the user experience better? Because in digital marketing, if you are not, as a company, improving the experience of your users, then you're doing disservice to your job. So rather than telling you, like, you should know this platform or you should know that platform, because it's an gone are those days when you could say, if you know five tools and you know everything. Every day there's a new tool being innovated. There's every day there's some new technology being innovated, and that's actually the beauty of digital marketing, right? So rather than focusing on the various platforms, I really want to say, if you can get yourself as quickly as possible familiarized with different kinds of marketing touch points, um, email marketing, social media platforms. And when I say, I mean both native and I can also define these terms. I'm sorry, I might be throwing a lot of technical words out there.
That's all right. That's all right.
So whether be the native apps. So when I say native apps, these are, like, for example, apps that are provided by social media channels like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and whatnot. And then there are platforms which allow you to go in and post, like, for example, Hootsuite or something else. um, the so having a basic idea of all these kind of platforms, like how email marketing works, how social media marketing works, how for example, Google Ads works, what are the basics of search engine optimization. I think that knowledge for anybody who's coming out of college is way more valuable than um, if you know specifically how would you create a tertiary level campaign in a Google Ads, because that's not the expect. So I recruit at my job, right? I recruit at my job, and one thing that I'm more eager to know is, what's your drive to learn more? Because nobody in this world, even the best of the best professionals in the digital marketing space, don't know everything. So what is your drive that makes you learn more? So coming back to your question and not really running away, I think as long as you can have some basics of each of these spheres: email marketing, social media, search, and I want to split search into two parts: paid and organic. So I think you're pretty good. And there are some platforms which are always going to be there and which are always going to become a part of the customer journey. um, in email marketing, you could look at MailChimp, Constant Contact. We personally in my company use Sendinblue. For social media, you could have maybe a marketing suite. Like, for example, we use SEM Rush, which is in fact one of the tools that I was introduced to while I was in an internship. And I have stuck with me throughout my career. It's a fantastic tool. It doesn't just allow you to do one aspect of marketing, but it has, like, it's a whole suite of applications. Hootsuite is another one which helps you with social media posting and scheduling and all of that. Coming to search engine optimization, I think uh, again, in a platform like SEM Rush becomes Moz, SEM Rush. These are like some really good platforms. Um, and I can go on and on and on. It's an endless list. And like I said, it's literally an endless list. Every day there's been technology churned out, and there's it's an endless conversation.
So basically, just be updated of what's coming in the market is what you're saying, and your
Honestly,
drive to learn for sure.
yes, absolutely. And and the one tip that I want to give is, rather than focusing on specifics, throw yourself out there, experience everything that comes your way, experience and take a call for yourself, that what do you personally like. Like, for example, I have done, or I've touched on all aspects of digital marketing so far. And there are obviously my personal favorites, and there are obviously areas that I don't like so much, but unless if I would have done something in that area, I wouldn't even have come to the realization, oh, that I love this more or I don't like that, right? So I think that's the broader tip.
No, perfect.
I hope that answers the question in some way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, since you have touched some of the points that how do you learn some of the major aspects of, let's say, SEM Rush, for example, during your internship back in your MBA. So, I just wanted to know for the audience out there, that while you were doing your MBA, how difficult was it to get one, not even one, not two, even four internships during an MBA. And so, what are the major challenges that you faced? I want you to describe them so that it might help the young marketeers out there who are still facing this challenge as being as a student.
Right. So, like I said in one of the questions earlier, right, that one thing that I knew for sure on day one of entering the United States was I want to build a career in marketing, right? And in another question, I answered that if there is one thing that Americans are good at, that's marketing.
Mm.
So I was already seeing a huge challenge in front of me that I'm an international person, right? I'm an international immigrant in a way.
Yeah.
So my competition in the job field is going to be with Americans. That means I have to up my game. I can't be having this conversation at their level. It has to be at from a level which is above them. So I guess that thought that I need to create a future for myself. I need to outbeat a lot of competition. And mind you, when I say that, I mean it. There is
Yeah.
a lot of competition, especially in marketing. Because if you came in for a field like, say, IT or medicine or any STEM program rather, I guess, and I can talk for myself, right? I obviously can't talk for
Mm.
everybody else, but if being an Indian, if I had to step into this country with those professions, probably it might be a little easier for me. But because I wanted to be in marketing and make a career for myself in marketing, it was tough for me from day one. And one thing that I've always, throughout my career, that I've believed in is your experience, your real life experience that you gain from real work is irreplaceable. No education can replace that, right? I mean, there's certainly a huge amount of value attached with education, and nobody's taking away that from education. However, the practical skills that are needed for day to day functioning, that can only be achieved through real work. And that's why even if you see in the programs in education world today, you see more and more emphasis of real world projects and real world experiences, right? Given all that, it was clear in my head that I am going to make sure that I don't take any job that is not adding value to my resume, and I'm going to make sure that any free time I'm going to spend doing internships in real companies. So I had clear goals in my head. I had clear itemized agenda in my head, and I just worked backwards from there. And I and pardon my language, but I worked my ass off, and made sure that I get not one, not two, but four internships.
Anmol, just wanted to ask you, where all did you do your internships? All these four or whatever internships that you did in your course, where all
Sure.
did you do it?
So my first ever internship was with Mount Sinai Health, which is in Manhattan. It's a healthcare system, and one of the largest healthcare systems in the United States, and especially in the Northeast region of the United
Mhm.
States. So it was a privilege to intern there. I got to intern with their digital marketing team, which was part of their centralized headquarters. So it was a
Mhm.
huge deal. It was a great learning experience. And on the flip side, I interned with Green Hopping, which was basically a startup. So totally contrary
Yeah.
culture. Like on one side, you're talking about 50 people in just digital marketing. So you can
Mhm.
imagine the scope of the company, right? Mount Sinai had like about 50 people in just the digital marketing team, another 50 in the traditional
Oh.
marketing team. So that's the extent of their operations. And then on the
Mhm.
other side, I wanted to experience the startup culture. And there I was interning in the analytical field, in the digital marketing field, with this company called Grasshopper. And that was uh, an experience in itself, because it was totally a different culture. Then my third internship was with Shorelight Education, which is one of the world's leader in education partnerships. Um, Again, digital marketing focused. Um, yeah, so those were some of the internships I had.
Perfect. You know, not taking much time of you anymore. My last question to you, and we promise that it's the last question that we have on the list. You know, looking at the COVID coming in, affecting the world, you know, like a devil, reaching saint's house. I want to know, what are the new trends you feel will come up and are coming up in the marketing sector? Because gone are the days the traditional marketing will work for sure. They're gone for sure. What are the new trends you feel and you have faced, and what is CopyLeaks doing something new that you want to share with us, and so that we get some knowledge of what are the new trends going in and what is CopyLeaks doing in that?
Sure. So, uh, so first of all, I think, by the way, it's totally my bad. I forgot to mention this, that as part of your previous question, one of the other fourth internships that I was doing was with a marketing agency called Wonder Integrated Group. And this was the first time another aspect of getting into internships was trying to exhaust as many options as possible. So I got to work with a big company which was in the field of healthcare. I got to work with a startup. I got to work with an education company, global level education company. And I also wanted to get some agency experience, because in marketing you always have two sides of it. One is an agency side of it, and one is a client side of it. So far I had got a lot of client side experience, but I didn't have any agency side experience. And going back to like the previous questions, it's important to go out and dirty your hands and get that experience on your hands before you can decide what is for you and what is not. And that's the whole purpose of internships, right? So doing this internship with the agency gave me a totally different perspective of marketing, and how things could function,
Yeah.
which I had never thought of. So and I think that's also a part of the question that you just asked, that how things are changing. And the beauty of this internship was the agency focused on not traditional channels, not digital channels, but how they could be brought together. So I think, Kabir, you and I were talking the other day about this concept you're learning in school, integrated marketing, right? And
Yeah.
omni-channel marketing. So that was a classical example of it. So when you talk about integrated marketing, which was the core business for this agency, what they would do is they would bring in the traditional media channels, traditional marketing channels, and tie them with digital goals. So
Mm.
like if I'm doing an event out there, I'm doing an outreach activity out there, how am I converting those people on my website? So how I'm taking a traditional event and tying it with a digital goal, which is like a website conversion. So that's really like an integrated thing. And I think that trend has already been going on for some time in the marketing world, and just not in marketing world, but just generally speaking in the world,
Yeah.
that we are moving towards a digital world, right? And we are not going to go back writing on stones.
Mm.
It's only way forward from there, right? So um, and COVID has pushed the status quo for a lot of companies which felt challenged to do things digitally, because right, like humans are very difficult when it comes to change. Nobody wants to change, but then like a monster like COVID enters in and pushes people to do what they probably don't want to do, which is work in isolation, work in a
Mm.
digital aspect, work in a way that you've never thought of. And now people who are even in their old ages are being pushed to move to that way of functioning
Correct.
without having a choice, right? So this is going to be the new normal. That's according to me, of course. This is going to be a new normal. And you can already see that the culture is drastically improving, right? And drastically moving toward to a direction which is all digital. um, um, you can see a lot of big companies, Fortune 500 companies, already coming out and speaking in media that we have already said, for like, for example, Twitter came out and said our employees do not need to work from the office ever, period, right? So
Mm.
this working from home and working in a digital space, being more dependent on technology is not just going to specifically affect a function like marketing or finance or something like that, but in general, businesses are being forced to move into a direction where they are working more digitally.
Okay.
So I guess that partly answers your
Absolutely.
question.
That's part A. Don't miss the part B. What is your company and CopyLeaks doing to meet these challenges?
Sure. So a good part about my company is COVID or no COVID, we always had this culture. So personally speaking, I don't even like sometimes feel that I'm affected by COVID, because even while there was no COVID, I used to work from home probably 2 to 3 times a week, right? And the only difference right now is that I'm working from home 5 days a week.
Mm.
Recently, I was having a conversation with my boss, and it doesn't even, like, New York City is opening now, right? And we're not even having that conversation that when are we planning to come back. So that itself just shows that what's the culture of the company and what's the dependency on technology already. um, so personally speaking, doesn't really seem like a lot has changed for me.
Yeah.
And I think the struggle is more for those companies which depended on um, people coming into the office and all those sorts of things. So yeah.
Basically, human-facing jobs are more
Yeah,
affected, you were saying, rather than the digital companies.
I think
Perfect.
I
Yeah.
I think overall it's a cultural shift that's coming in. It's a paradigm shift, and it's really like all sorts of jobs are moving into digital space. Like, I don't. I mean, in my career with CopyLeaks, I've been working here for a year and a half, almost hitting my promotion soon. Um,
Congratulations.
thank you. Um, I haven't
Congratulations.
had. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I don't know a single time when I have spoken to any vendor or somebody trying to sell something to me, doing that meeting in person. Not even once.
Mm.
And I have turned around a lot of things in marketing here in CopyLeaks, because I head the marketing in CopyLeaks, and I am responsible for all sorts of activities. Even that also includes like probably turning around the tech stack that we have here. So all those vendor conversations, all those external conversations, it's already happening in a digital way. So it's only moving forward, and like I said, we're not going to go back to writing on stones.
Superb. Superb.
So I think so we are pretty much, from our end we are done. And again, we would like to thank you, and we really appreciate the fact that you took your time from your busy schedule and came up for us to just to help us uh, help the young minds out there in the market so that they can know that what are the challenges that they might be able to face in the near future and how to cope with them. And I really hope that this is just a start that we are doing, and to have you, especially, you are the first one and the perfect one, as Kabir earlier mentioned too, that who is just out of those marketing field and is into the world where you are expanding and elaborating different versions of marketing and the challenges that you are facing. So I really thank you on the behalf of myself and Kabir. And if you can, suggest before you go some of the final lines that you think that would help us, everyone out there, and during this, pandemic of COVID-19, and what are the things that you think that would be there after we get through this period?
Sure. So, firstly, I really appreciated that you guys thought that I could represent your first ever episode. Um, uh, Very grateful, very humbled. So, thank you for having me over, first of all. Um, I think as a wrap up, I really just want to say one thing to the young minds out there. uh, I know it's stressful. I know this period is tough. I know it's tough times, and trust me, this is going to get recorded in history. But do remember that there is hope, and do not let go of that hope. World is not such a bad place. Trust me, there are a lot of good people out there. There are a lot of bad people out there, but the world is full of a lot of good people. Have some hope, have faith, and you will get through. Don't lose hope, and keep reaching out to people. Trust me, there are a lot of people who want to help, who look forward to help, and look for ways they can give it back. So use that. Don't shy away from reaching out to people. Don't shy away from experimenting with somebody, or new technology or a new concept. Don't shy away thinking that, hey, I'm just in college, probably my idea is worthless. No idea is worthless, remember that. So that's I think the real tip I want to give. And keep trying. You never know, you might land in one of the big fives of the world. So keep trying, don't lose hope. uh, and everything passes away. The bad period, the unfortunate times are going to pass away, and we will see a very positive trend soon.
Thank you for those inspiring words, Anmol. Thank you so
Absolutely, my
much.
pleasure. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having
Thank
me
you. Thank you
over.
so much. Thanks.